All right. Hi guys. Sorry for today. I'm a little bit busy, so I'm late today. But yeah, now I'm here. I mean, initially I wasn't quite sure that I was gonna come to live as well, but yeah, at the end of the day, I made it. so, uh, hi there, Norris. It is good evening for me, and I assume it's good morning for you. How are you, my friend? All right. I'm probably gonna wait for more people to join, but for those of you who have already joined, let me know if you can hear me properly and if there's no issues with the text whatsoever, and then we shall get started. Let me know in the chat that you can hear me properly, that you can see me properly, and that there's no problem with the connection and stuff like that. And we'll probably wait for maybe one or two more people to join, and we can get started with the news, what's new in SEO this week as well as last week. All right. Hope you can hear me properly. For those of you who have just joined, let me know if you can hear me properly and there's no problem with the tech whatsoever, the network, the image, the audio. Hi there, Harjot. How are you, my friend? Harjot, can you hear me properly? How's the connection, internet connection? Uh, Let me know if you can hear me properly in the chat. What do you mean? Yeah. Can you hear it or not? Is it everything is good? Nasib said hi. Hi there, Nasib. Welcome back. I think you joined last episode as well, right? Okay. So Harjo said fine, brother. All right. It seems like the audio and the network is good. Okay. Welcome you all to the SEO Live Show episode 6, in which I'm gonna go through two things. Basically, first is the what's new in SEO, basically from last week up until today, and also the second part of the live show would be the quick site audit, in which you give me your site, and then I'll do a live audit here, 30,000 foot view of the site, and give you maybe some recommendations and also suggestions, as well as they ask me anything in which you can ask me anything related to SEO. Q says, how are you? I'm good, Q. How are you, my friend? Okay, DJ Norris says, yes, we can hear. All right, perfect. Shall we get started with what's new in SEO this week, as well as last week as well, combined, basically. Let me know if all of you are ready for it, and I shall get started. You said everything is good. All right, great. Shall we get started? All right, cool. Let's get started. Okay, so what's new in SEO this week as well as last week? We'll start off with today's latest news. So again, this is where I get all my SEO news from. That is SEOroundtable.com. It is run by a guy called Barry Schwartz, which has been in the SEO industry since forever. And So yeah, if you want to check out some of the latest SEO news, make sure you go to seoroundtable.com. So start off here, we've got the good news probably for some SEOs, in which Search Console has finally released or support the regular expressions and more data filters. So now you can obviously filter for more data scope on your Search Console, which I think is a pretty handy tool. I mean, the Search Console over the past few years have developed into like they're getting better. It's getting better and better. So this, I think, is gonna be another plus or bonuses for most of the SEOs out there. So feel free to check it out. I'm not sure if it is fully rolled out yet. I haven't checked it out today. I've been so busy, so I haven't checked it out. But yeah, I'll probably check it out soon. Maybe after this live show. So let me know how it is for you. All right, so next here we've got really nothing much for today's. Let's have a look at some of the old news, probably like yesterday's. So let me maybe go through some of them here. All right, so yeah, so this is one of the basically top news that was released yesterday, and I haven't really read what it is actually, but it seems to be a conversation between a guy named Paul Har, which was an ex-engineer. He was I think, former. I'm not sure if he's an ex or he's still working at Google, but he's kind of like a Google search engineer vet. Yeah, so like a big guy, right, in the engineering department there, Paul Har. And it was a conversation between Paul Har and the and this guy, I think. So not sure. So it's probably like a conversation in which this it was a tweet in Twitter. So you can go through and read this, in which so the tweet starts something like so this Daphne mentioned something like, so basically she mentioned that Google is something like platform, saying that will reward this behavior until you adapt your business to get too good at it, and then we'll punish it. So she mentioned that that's an unavoidable cycle with SEO, spam or SEO. So this kind of triggered the Twitter, what do you say, um, the Twitter tweets. So the conversation went on between Paul Har and then a couple of these guys, and then Barry Schwartz joined in, and then Paul Har says, and then he also went to say that so this is an interesting part of the conversations. I think I just read about this, so let me find it for you. uh So yeah, I'm not sure where is it, but it is kind of, so it is kind of saying that Paul Har says that they Google used to use links as a way to kind of find, or a way to to understand the authority and the trustworthiness of the website. But then over the past years, SEOs has been using links as a way to kind of abuse or spam the system, and therefore they he seems to kind of say that now we're kind of moving away from links, right, as or it's not the primary way um of knowing whether or not a website is a good reputation or what, something like that. So it's an interesting conversation. I haven't fully read it out yet, or really they haven't gone into detail yet, but I suggest you go through the conversations. And apart from that, we also have this which seems to be a Google My Business bug in the US. So it was reported that a couple of businesses were being dropped off the map in some sort of stuff like that, and it seems to be a bug there. So I'm not sure if it is fixed or not. It is the process to fix the issue. Okay, so you probably have to kind of contact GMB support team, right, Google My Business support team, to and then they would look into it. Right, so if your business got dropped out of the map, in the search, better reach out to the support team there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think there's really nothing big in the news except for that conversation between Paul Hart and some of the other guys. So feel free to check it out. Really nothing interesting. Regarding the updates, there were a couple of unannounced updates, I think, a couple of days back, but it seems to be nothing much or huge. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it for the this news this episode's news, SEO news. Now let's get started with the Ask Me Anything session as well as the quick site audit. Okay, so let me see if we have any questions. SkillF says, "Hey Jackie, how's it going? I'm doing good. How are you, my friend?" SkillF asks, "Do you know the reason of Google rejecting ad application due to low value content? What's the solution of this particular thing?" I'm not sure. Like I have never used AdSense before. So you might maybe need to consult with other people who are kind of like in this field. I don't know really what's the problem there, but maybe try going through their guidelines again and check recheck with your content and see what could be the reason there. I'm sorry, my friend. Like I'm not. I'm not sure what's the what's the reason there. I have never used AdSense before, so that's the thing. But I would assume I know. But anyway, I've seen your site. Your content looks good enough. I'm not sure why they would be rejecting you anyway. Maybe they're like very good AdSense expert on Facebook group. Maybe you can try consult with them. I think they can give you a better answer. Okay. All right. So uh you can ask me any questions. Now we're in the live Q&A section. So the news section was nothing interesting anyway this week except for the conversation. Okay. And also, if you have any website that you'd like me to do a quick audit on, make sure you type in the chat as well. When you type in the URL, just make sure you don't type in the full URL. Just type in something like your domain and then dot and then com, right? So you write the spell it out basically, because the chat kind of filters it out. But anyway, you can just type in the full URL, and if it doesn't allow you to do it, then you can just type in um, say it out like that. Otherwise, you can just send it and I'll unfilter it here as well if it allows you to pass the chat filter there. Okay, any questions, any things you would want to ask, any site audit? I'll be here for about for another, I think, um 40 minutes or so, probably. Yeah, around that. So you've got plenty of times to ask the questions. Or if you have any website that you would like me to have an opinion on, then that also fine. Like maybe you spotted a competitor and then you're wondering like how come they're ranking so well without doing anything. Then I could probably look into the website real quick and maybe give you uh, some of my views on the site as well. Like anything, it doesn't have to be your website or anything. Okay, so DJ Norris asks, what did you mean by business being dropped on Google My Business? I have a physical address, but my address isn't found when searching. However, the business name still shows up. Yeah, the news there was kind of like the business was dropped off of the search completely, something like that. So if the business name still show up when you type for it, then that's good. Then you're not kind of affected by this bug. Uh, I have a physical address. Okay, yeah. I think that was a bug. I haven't read in detail really. Like, I haven't checked the news for like for many days now, but I just kind of went through really quick. But I think it was assumably it was kind of like, yeah, the business was kind of dropped off completely from the serve, even when you type in the business name. So at least if you can still find your business name when you type in, that's good enough. I mean, that's fine. You are not kind of uh you didn't kind of faced with this bug, affected with this bug. Um, okay. Fire up all your questions. Last week was a great week. I mean, if any of you here joined me last week, you would, you would really love last week for sure. I think all of you actually joined last week anyway. So yeah, we got. I think there was a guy. I don't remember his name. It was Andrew or Nicholas. I'm not sure. He asked lots of questions, and some of them were really good questions as well. So not sure if he will join this week or not. Let's see. I'll probably pull up some questions from the Facebook group as well. DJ Norris says you might need to click English in the top right corner to switch to English. What do you mean by English top right corner? Uh, what are you kind of referring to here? English in the top right corner to switch to English. Uh, is it the chat? What is it? Business name still show up. Let me see. I think everything is set in English. Do you mean the interface of YouTube or message report? Okay. Top right. Uh, Let me try finding some question on Facebook as well. Uh, Read the post above that. Something's wrong with the chat. I don't see anything wrong with the chat. Okay. Let me see in YouTube on my mobile, and I'll see what's happening there. Just a second here. I don't see anything wrong with the chat. Let me see. Even on my mobile device, everything looks fine. Oh, something's wrong with the chat. Can you maybe pinpoint it? Where is it? I couldn't seem to find it. Uh, did any of you find anything wrong with the chat? I'm not sure. DJ Norris says he finds something wrong with the chat. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Norris, you shouldn't be posting direct URL like I mentioned because the chat filters it out. I don't know how to unfilter it. I don't seem to find any setting there, but I'll find it on Google and then you can type in the URL and then just spell it out like that, dot.com, like that. Okay, now your URL show up. All right. Okay, so first let me get to SkillF questions. SkillF asks, is it necessary to build backlinks from the same niche site, or we can build them on different niche as well? Uh, this question I answered last week. I remember that guy Andrew or Nicholas, I don't remember, he asked the same questions. Basically, you can build it from anywhere, but the more relevant, the better, right? I mean, obviously, getting a more relevant link from the same website is obviously the best, and not the best really, but they're basically two things, right? When it comes to backlinks or SEO in general, it's authority and relevancy. So authority is basically the power and the popularity and stuff like that, and then relevancy, or how relevant the website or a page is. So when you build out your links, you would kind of need to make sure that your overall links profile kind of balanced out, right? So it's not just 100% authority, and it's also not just 100% relevancy, because 100% authority obviously doesn't look natural, and 100% relevancy obviously won't give you enough of the boost, right? So you either want to balance it out or get the best links. That is, best links are basically links that are authoritative as well as relevant. Authoritative here means high power DA and stuff like that, traffic, etc., etc. And relevancy here is obviously the site is relevant to yours, right? So that's the best links there. So at the end of the day, you kind of need to balance it out, and also check your competitors and see what are the majority of their link profile, which buckets they're in, right? So are they in like more building from authority sites, or are they getting links from more relevant sites? You don't have to kind of follow them anyway, but obviously more relevant is better, but kind of have to balance it out. So there's really no right or wrong answer to this. It depends really. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, SkillF. Let me do a quick look here at Mr. Norris' competitors, and then he's wondering why his competitor is number one in the area. All right. So let me see. Website. quaddigitallabs.com. Okay, QA Digital Labs. Oh, Spanish. Interesting. Uh, okay, I don't need to a translation anyway. They have an English translation here. Let me see. Marketing on Google, web design, development. Uh, Norris, my friend, which of the specific page that you want me to, which of the keyword that you are wondering that why they're ranking number one, can you kind of pinpoint for me, so it can make it easier for me to go through as well? You let me know which of the specific keyword he's ranking number one. He may be ranking for maybe tons of them, but which one that you like me to maybe have a quick look on, because obviously he has lots of pages, right? Lots of stuff going on. So um, maybe SEO keyword, web design keyword, which keyword? They get it from Web Design Maryland. All right, let me have a check look for that. Let us go to google.com, change to English. We go to the US, so I can get the same space, Web Design Maryland. Okay, so okay, there they are. All right, let's check their website here. They're not really number one, but still top here. Okay, number one web design company Maryland. Okay, so let's first check out their on page, so I can kind of go through it. So first, they're perfectly optimized heading tag. I think this is their H1. Let me check. Uh, okay. Yep, it is H1 here. Okay. So you can see right off the bat their homepage, I mean their H1 tag is perfectly optimized for the exact keyword. And then, again, this is their H2, right? So again, H2 talks about the same topics here, web design service. So here they kind of talk about what they offer, right? So all of these are, what they offer, and also their, relevant keywords, right, that are related to web design. So things such as, SEO, right? SEO is also related, responsive web design, right? All these keywords, and also, professional web design. So all these are relevant keywords, right? That, any web design page or keyword page would have. And apart from that, the content also not that big, I think. Let me see. So again, this is also another heading tag, right? Another topic here on their page, which they kind of talk about here. So um so yeah, so they again talk about here again local SEO Maryland, probably again another like set of relevant keywords. I mean their content also is not bad. I mean to some degree their design looks good, no doubt. But their content looks quite a lot interesting. But you can see right throughout their page, I think you're kind of getting the theme now. Throughout their page, they kind of focus, on their core topics, right? So they mention, again, their page is structured in a very hierarchy manner in which, they talk about their service, the service that they offer, the web design service they offer. They showcase their portfolios, right? And then they also make sure that their page mentions all the important related keywords, right? Such as SEOs, responsive web design, right? All these relevant keywords and topics, and all of their topics are subdivided using proper heading tags, right? As you can see, H2 tags, H3 tags, stuff like that. And their content is obviously quite a lot, but you don't really have to write this much, to be honest. You just have to make sure that your page is fully focused on what you want to rank for and stay on the topic as much as as possible, right? And make sure that you include all the important keywords. uh so Maryland here, you can see right the word Maryland here is mentioned 30 times, right? 30 times here. So this kind of gives Google a better sense that all right, their page is very relevant to the word Maryland. And also web, the word web here is also 72 times mentioned on the page, right? You can see here. So throughout their page, they make sure that they're fully relevant to the query. And like you showed me your website last week, right? I gave you, that was my first suggestion, was to beef up your content, your page, your optimizations. You have to make sure that your keywords are are presenting everywhere, all the variation of keyword, right? Web design, responsive web design, SEO, right? All these relevant keywords. You have to make sure that your content is super relevant to the topic. And don't write too much than necessary, and don't write too little than necessary as well. So this is kind of on their on page basically. Let's maybe have a look at their backlinks profile, and probably we might be able to see something interesting. But again, all the web design company, their backlinks are mostly from their client's footer area, I assume. So uh, let's see what kind of links they're having. Actually, so as you can see, right, footer type backlinks here. Actually, let me maybe take their actual URL, so it's a better thing to see. Uh, Let me see here. So they only have 3 do follow links to their main page here. and they don't seem to be powerful at all. So it's either that number one, they're getting, they're getting the link juice from their homepage, which seems to be quite strong, or the keyword is not that competitive, right? And that's why they're ranking off, purely based on those three simple links. So probably their internal link from their homepage to their web design page. I mean, at least obviously, they link it to from the top menu here anyway, right? So this is also a second thing, right? Make sure that your page, your important page, the page you want to rank for, is easily accessible from your main page, right? So main page is normally your home page or your hub page, or the page that are easily accessible, accessible, for people, right? For the users. And lastly, so yeah, I think lastly maybe I might have a check on their brand name, and I'll probably see how well their brand is. Okay, so they don't seem to have quite a lot of brand name. Not sure. Let me see here. Maybe their brand name is not that. Uh, okay, so their brand name is not that strong, right? It doesn't seem so anyway for me. So yeah, in a nutshell, I can kind of give you a quick suggestion or reason here why they're ranking well. Is number one, their on page looks quite good to me, and secondly, their backlinks, although to the page is not that much, to the overall website it looks good enough. At least, to the home page, they're able to pass the juice to the main web design page. And thirdly, probably, in my opinion, from a quick look here, and it also seems that this keyword doesn't seem to be quite competitive as well. So with that being said, Norris, my friend, if you want to kind of beat them, first make sure your on page is thorough, properly optimized, and yeah, make use of all the relevant keywords. Secondly, make sure the page you want to rank for, a web design page, is easily accessible from your home page. Have proper internal link to that page. And thirdly, you don't really need that many backlinks anyway for this particular page, so it's probably a good news for you. You don't have to fight much for it. But yeah, first I would, make sure your on page is really thorough. I would assume that, with proper on page, you can easily come to the top 10 here for sure. With a couple of small links like citation and stuff like that, I would say. So yeah, that's my quick overview here for this website. I hope you're getting the idea. If you have any questions regarding this, let me know in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer it. Norris says. Norris asks, how are you getting Mozbar to work? When I tried downloading it from Moz, I got 404 errors. I've been having it for, I think, over almost 2 years now. I mean, but I've been uninstalling it and installing it on and off from time to time, because it seems it doesn't seem to work 100% of the time due to some reasons. But the last time I uninstalled it was, I think, last month, and installed it back again. And since then, it has been working fine for me. So I'm not sure why you couldn't download it. Maybe you can try reaching out to their support. I used to reach out to their support once, and they're very responsive. And yes, that time they had a major server issues, so they responded back saying that, or yes, we had like some of the back end problems, and they fixed it in 3 days anyway. So you could try reach out to the support team. So you can go to Google and type in Moz bar support. They're really good at. They're quite responsive actually. I reached out to them once, so here you can go through these troubleshooting procedures. Otherwise, you can reach out to their support. So maybe you click on not really. I'm not sure. Wait. let me see. Maybe you can just go to contact help. Yeah, just click on contact help, and then you click on other here, and then then fill up this form, and they'll come back to you within a day. Norris says, I emailed them this morning. This has been a problem for a week. So I'm not sure why they didn't fix it yet. Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, it has been working well for me. Even right now, you just saw it, right? It worked well for me. So I'm not sure if it's just for you, because I mean, if it is a real problem from their side, then they would have already fixed it, or many people would have already reported, right? So maybe I would kind of double check on your side again and see, that you're not having any ads blocker enabled, or your browser, maybe something weird is going on there. Did you try switching the browser? Which browser are you using? Is it Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge? Because Microsoft Edge also supports Chrome applications, right? Um, yeah, Chrome application, you can call it like that. So I'm using Microsoft Edge here. Maybe you can try switch to using Microsoft Edge and try again instead of Google Chrome, and then see how it goes from there. Because for me, I don't have any problem. As you can see, I still use it uh, with no issues. Okay, so I hope the site review helped for you, my friend Norris. Um, yeah, I mean, like, SEO is basically, you can say it's complicated, yes, up to some extent, but if you kind of understand, the what's actually behind it, you'll find it quite easy actually, because at the end of the day, it's just about making sure that your website, your pages are properly optimized to your top to your for your topic, for your keywords, and then make sure that your page and topic are seen as being as an authoritative source, as a trustworthy source for the visitors. And then you kind of look back and see, all right, if you want to build up authority for your page, for your site, what do you need? What does it mean to be an authoritative figure, right? Is it popularity? Yes, sure, popularity is one thing there. Obviously, making sure that people shares your content is one thing. Making sure that people links you is also another thing. What else is a sign of authority there? Good article, research, well researched articles, that's also one of the authoritative signals. What else there? If people actually recommend your business, if they mention about your business online, that's also another authority signal there. So yes, it's just about making sure that you understand, what Google wants. That is, it wants to give out the best results for the users, and then reverse it back from there. So it's mostly just on page and off page. Yeah, it's just on page and off page. Obviously, technical is a little bit there in the middle. So that's that's the thing. Okay, so any more questions from any one of you watching here? Um, Today we've got a couple of people join, but only two seems to be asking. So, uh, Nasib, are you still there? I'm not sure if you're still watching. You just came and say hi and then you left. That's funny, right? Arjot said YouTube website 7 seconds slower than YouTube app in streaming. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe they give more priority to their app. Not sure. Norris says, thanks for your explanation. They're great. You're welcome, Norris. If you're still stuck at any point, let me know. I'm happy to clarify any anywhere you want, just to make sure that you fully understood. Because sometimes, I just kind of ramble it out too fast, maybe for sometimes, and then I sometimes forgot to realize that, oh, okay, you might not understand it here, you might not understand it there. Um, so yeah, let me know if at which point that you don't understand or don't have a questions. Then you can. I'll be more happy to explain it for you. Okay. Any more questions? We still have quite, I think, about 15 minutes left. 15-20 minutes. I can be here 15 more, 20 minutes more. Arjot, my friend, do you have any questions? Uh, you don't seem to have many questions, but you always join. Concurrent viewers. Maybe I'll try to look for good questions on Facebook, so I can help answer. Um, Let me see here. Some good questions. Oh, oh, this is an interesting news. So, uh, Yahoo Answers will be shut down forever on May 4th. Okay. So Yahoo Answers going away, guys. If you're using it, sadly, it's not going to last forever. So, um, that's so sad. I used to use it a lot when I was in school to kind of find out. I mean, some answers are obviously very good there. So, Harjo says, I'm diving into Django and Attack on Titan spoiler. Get learn new things whenever I join. Good. Uh, I haven't checked out the episodes yet, but we'll try to look into it. Like I said, get learn new things whenever you join. I mean, glad you learn new things when you join. Okay. Let me see if I can find some good answer questions here. I'll answer it for you here as well. I haven't checked out Facebook for a couple of days now. Harjo says, yeah, I also found answers at Yahoo but never made an account. Yep, me too. I've never made an account, but sadly they're going away on May 4th. So, Arjun asks, does hosting sites on personal devices affect SEO? What do you mean by hosting sites on personal devices? Oh, you mean if you host your website on your laptop? Do you mean by that? Or is it hosting it on your own server? Not sure. But in general, uh, in general, your hosting. I mean, there seems to be this. There seems to be this. What do you say? There are rumors there that I mean, not rumors, but SEO people, experts believe that your hosting does play a role in your SEO in some way or the other. So it could, number one, obviously affect it directly, when it comes to, let's say, user experience, your speed, right? All those. So that we all know that those are affected by you. Those affect your SEO, right? The hosting components. But secondly, the neighborhood in your hosting also seems to affect as well. So like from some of the Google patents, they seem to mention that they also look at the website in your hosting area, and then to check whether or not um you to kind of look for bad neighborhood, basically, right? So if your website is hosted with other like spammy sites, then Google might classify your site as being spammy, or not trustworthy site as well. But they seem to deny. I mean, Google came out and denied that, no, we don't look at other websites in your hosting area. That doesn't affect. But there was a actually a case studies which was published at last year. It was done by this Reboot Hosting SEO. I don't remember the full name. Yeah, so this is it. It is called as long-term shared hosting experiments. So it's a very quite a big experiment here at case studies, in which in this and this guy or and his team created fake websites and hosted it on, and on kind of two different web hostings. One with like expensive hostings with lots of good website. Another one a very cheap hosting with around the spammy sites, right? And then the test concluded that the test concluded that all the sites that are hosted on the spammy servers ranked poorly than sites that are hosted on good servers, or good neighborhood website. And they had lots of maths and numbers here, which I find to be very interesting as well. So if you want to check it out, I'll just leave the link here. It is I mean, it's quite conclusive anyway for me. So I tend to believe that yes, hosting does play a role there. But if you only have one website in your hosting servers, and I think that's fine. That shouldn't be a problem. DJ Norris says, so don't have shared hosting, then guess we can check other sites in the IP range. I'm not sure, Norris. Like I said, it seems to be a big speculations. In some of the Google patents, they do mention that search engines will look at your IP and determine whether, and kind of classify your website whether or not you're in the spammy or you're a trustworthy site. They might look at it, they might not. I mean, it's just a patent, right? So it didn't mention specifically that Google will do it, but it's possible. Actually, it's possible, and they might do it, right? I mean, you think about it, in terms of, let's say, engineering perspective. um, right before they even index size, right before they even index your website, and right before they even rank your site, what would be the one of the easiest way to classify websites? To look at the hosting, right? And then just decide whether or not they should continue with your site or not. So they might look at, okay, there are like 5 buckets of hosting here. This hosting, the majority of sites are spammy. We're gonna drop them. We're not gonna look at it because it's gonna cost us lots of money and all the resources that we need to kind of compute. And we're just gonna keep on looking at all the buckets, right? So it could be possible, right? I mean, from the engineering perspective and from the efficiency there. But again, it might not. We don't know for sure. But this case study here seems to give a quite a good conclusion there too. So yeah, have a look at it. It's quite interesting. Arjun asks, what about people hosting spammy website on Google Cloud? That's interesting one. I mean, uh, probably they might ignore it. But again, I'm not quite sure if the majority of Google Cloud are spammy websites, right? Because cloud hosting are expensive, right? So I doubt if any spammer would actually use cloud hosting such as Google Cloud in an extensive area. But yes, cheap hosting, obviously, those are like where most of the spammers will be anyway, right? So probably they might ignore it. They might not even look at it in the first place. Who knows, right? Like we don't really know. But it's just the theory there, right? It's possible, that's for sure. It's possible, but we don't know if they look at it or not. So, but it's one of the areas which I've been kind of speculated for over quite some times now. But they might look at it, but it could be just a small factor, right? It could be just one in a thousand of factors that Google look at your site. So you might not even have to worry about it if other things on your website are already good enough, right? That could also be possible. So yeah, so that's my point on this. Um, Based on the studies here from the Reboot website. But honestly, I would say that it could be just one thing that Google look at. Um, Maybe out of 10, if you already hosted on a spammy website, you're 1 point deducted, something like that. So yeah. So I mean that's a good question anyway, Harjot. Interesting. I mean, uh, not many people actually know about it, really, to be honest. So yeah, share it out. Okay, guys, so I have about like 10 minutes to go. So if you have any questions, feel free to fire them up. Otherwise, uh, you can join for next episode for next week. There seems to be some people who joined and left and joined and left for some reason. Kept on, going up 4-3-4-3. So maybe he wants to maybe just do a small check to see what's happening and then left. So maybe in the meantime, I'll just go through some of the questions on Facebook in search for good questions here. Most of the questions are, not that interesting, really. It's like most of them are quite basics. Like I'm quite sure you all already know about it. Trying to find good questions so you can learn something new from this live session. Oh yeah, these are good questions, and I don't have a conclusive answer on this, but I'm gonna give you my take. So someone asked, can you actually rank a website created on .crypto or .eth domains? Basically, all those new fancy TLD, right? So something like abc.shop or um, XYZ dot SEO, right? All these fancy extension, domain extension. Um, my take on this is not conclusive, and I've never tested or seen it in the field really, like whether or not it works for SEO. But my one of my successful e-commerce site that was ranking really well was ranking on a .store extension. So it was xyz.store. So it's either not it's neither not .com nor any .net or stuff like that. It was .store, and it was ranking really well. And so yeah, my take on this would be that it doesn't affect SEO. I mean, it does affect SEO because it has a keyword to it, right? So let's say if you offer an SEO service and your website here's xyz.seo, you already have a good what do you say good you already have an advantage there of having the word SEO there in your domain name, right? So keyword the domain also is a big ranking factor as well. So I think at the end of the day, is it's just giving you more advantage to some extent, really, to be honest. That's my take on this. But some people do argue that it does not rank as good as it's that as normal .com or .net sites. So I'm not sure about this. I only have one website with this kind of like .weird extension, and it's ranking really well for me. So I would, and that was my take on this, a theory on this, my speculation that it could just rank, normally just like any type of other websites. So yeah, these are good questions anyway. I mean, people do debate about this from time to time. Google, I mean, Harjot asked, will Google one day delete data saying it can't store now? Graphic card industry is going wild due to shortage of crypto mining and scalpers. Okay. Will Google one day delete data saying it can't store now? I'm not sure, Harjot, if Google would do that. They might, they might not. I mean, not sure. Uh, that we have to see. So yeah, I mean the graphic industries, they probably might found something interesting with all these top crypto or these weird extensions. That's why they're buying it right now. But yeah, that's my take. I mean, it's just one part of your domain which may give you a good advantage there for the keyword that you want to rank for. And I don't see it, why it shouldn't rank well really, because it's just another website, right? But maybe it might not, because Google might not recognize it well enough, right? Or might not trust it initially. So maybe you might need to put in harder work in order to get it in order to make Google trust your site. That could be possible for this type of domain name. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think they can rank as good, just like any other general extension type normal domain name. Okay, so I think most of the people have already left. Um, anyway, I have about like 5 or 10 more minutes from here. If you have any quick questions, let me know in the chat before I leave for today's sessions. For today's session, before we end the session. I can't seem to find any good question on Facebook, really. I mean, that was a good one anyway, but Any more questions before I leave the session? Let me see here. Don't seem to find any good answer questions anyway. Oh, so we got one new viewer here. Name Man on the Mission. How are you? I'm good, Man on the Mission. How are you, my friend? Is that your real name, Man on the Mission? That's a good. That's a quite an impressive name, really. Man on the Mission. Which mission are you on, my friend? You can let us know in here as well. Man of the missions, do you have any questions? I'm about to leave anyway. You kind of joined late, but yeah, if you have any real quick questions, I can help you sort. Man, the mission asks, after how many time SEO work? Okay, so do you mean how long does SEO take to work? Is that your questions? I assume that's your questions. Really, I mean, there's no really fixed amount of time as to when it would work for you. I mean, it depends on many factors, right? Like competitions for the keywords. It depends on how much of the things you're putting into your to your SEO. Let's say if you like really an expert, if you're really good at what you do, obviously it's gonna take quicker, right? But at the same time, you also have to look at the competitors as well, right? So I'm just gonna say on average, it takes at least 3 months to really start seeing some tractions or some movements that you can say, all right, yes, we are in the right direction, or all right, no, we're already on the wrong. We're doing it wrong, stuff like that. So at least give it 3 months for for any of the keyword you want to rank for on your entire website, and 6 months should be a good time frame when you can really start judging whether or not um, you should be whether or not that you really beat your competitors, or whether or not you should really put in more effort, or whether or not you're on the right path, stuff like that. And then yeah, it's just around that. I would say 6 months should be the good time frame for any campaign, for me at least. I used to set it as at 3 months, but then over time, it just seems to be unrealistic, even especially for new website. So I would say, yeah, 6 months should be a good time frame for any judgment. AH reps show difficulty on basis of backlinks only. Yup, man on the mission, that's correct. AH reps only show difficulty based on backlinks, and that also is not 100% accurate anyway. Like there's really no correct metric on difficulty, right? Like there's really no tool out there that can give you an exact correct answer of the difficulty behind the keyword, but it can give you a good sense of idea based on the backlinks, of course. um, but again, backlinks not everything. So it's just one part of the equation. If you're good at one page, then you don't really need lots of backlinks to compete with your competitors. So you kind of have to weight it there. It's all about weighing like this versus this, like backlinks versus content versus maybe traffic versus others, and here and there. You may be deficient in one thing, but if you already have, other things that are good enough, you can obviously beat, you know others, right, that are only having like one good thing there. So SEO, is all about putting in making sure that you are optimizing each and every area of the bucket. So it's backlinks on page, traffic, all those different buckets really. User intent, right, all this stuff. So you can lose on one thing, but if you win on the majority of things, you already win the war. But again, that depends on the competitors, right? If your competitors are already good in everything, then you obviously have to be good at everything in every bucket. Otherwise, you won't be able to beat them. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions. Man the mission. I guess that's it for the day. Thank you all of you for joining this live stream, and for those who have just joined new, I go live like this on every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. EST time zone. So you can join me for an SEO live show, in which I talk about what's new in SEO, as well as do a quick ask me anything like this, quick Q&A, quick site audit, and everything that's related to SEO really in the live stream like this. So, and if you have any follow-up questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll come back and answer them right after this stream is over and published on YouTube. And that's all for it. Thank you for watching and joining as well, and happy rankings.